background. Tonight, I smelled a scene about to explode. I owed it to my customers to keep things Southern California laid back. I owed it to my regulars to keep them from making asses of themselves in my restaurant. I don't think he's coming in tonight. No. Her eyes went wide. He'll be here. I stole a glance at the woman in the black dress with the mysterious eyes at the far end of the bar. Apparently, she'd been stealing one of me. She looked down at her wine glass when my eyes met hers. Angela, if the devil comes in, I'll tell him you were looking for him. In the meantime, I'm calling you a cab. No! She sprang off the bar stool and bumped into the next table, knocking over a half-full Corona. I grabbed the bottle before it toppled all the way over, but a stream of beer splashed across the table and cascaded onto the board shorts of a sun-aged surfer. Dude! He shot up and looked down at his damp crotch. I felt heads swivel and eyes lock onto me. Angela swerved around the surfer and out of the bar. Next to her on the house, I said, and followed Angela down the hall toward the dining room. She bumped into the hostess, managed to stay upright long enough to make the turn toward the front door, then crashed onto one of the leather sofas in the entranceway, her purse spilling its contents. Makeup, lipstick, keys, tampons, a wallet, a cell phone, and an overstuffed manila envelope lay strewn across the floor. Chris, my ace hostess, bent down and started shoveling the items back into the purse. Angela bounded off the sofa and grabbed the envelope before Chris could get to it. Thanks. She took the purse from Chris and shoved the envelope inside. I nodded Chris back to the hostess stand and knelt down next to Angela. Tears slid down her cheeks and her watery eyes were the color of a shallow bay. I can't go back there. Her voice a wet whisper. She fell back onto the sofa, mashing the purse to her belly like a fullback protecting a football. We'll just stay out here. I sat down and gently laid an arm around her shoulder. I'm buying the guy a couple rounds. He'll be fine. No, you don't. She jerked out a breath and tucked her head into her shoulder. The tears became a steady flow. I slipped my cell phone out of my pocket and called a cab. After a couple minutes, Angela finally let me lead her out of the restaurant, through the terracotta courtyard, and up the stairs to Prospect Street. The October night had a hint of winter in it, and the stars hung low in the sky. A taxi waited at the curb. Time to go home, Angela. I opened the cab's door. He doesn't know who I am. Angela looked at me through tear-drained eyes. He'll get you home. I steered her into the cab, gave the driver 220s, told him her address, and then shut the door. I watched Angela lean over the front seat and say something to the driver as he drove away. Maybe she redirected him. Maybe she asked for a barf bag. It didn't matter. I liked Angela, but she was someone else's problem now. People were free to screw up their lives as they pleased, just not in my restaurant. I surveyed Prospect Street, La Jolla's restaurant row. The sidewalks were almost empty. Most of the tourists had gone home, and paradise was again left to the locals. Old money natives felt safe enough to venture down from fortresses high on hillsides above the ocean. Type A's were back from their Hawaiian vacations, packing in overtime until they could jet off to Aspen in the winter, and pub crawlers could again publicly slip into private stupors in peace. Chris waited for me back at the hostess stand. The women's bathroom is backed up again and a lady needs to use it. One crisis averted, another one to solve. Muldoon's Steakhouse was an old-school restaurant with a casual atmosphere. Redwood slats and polished copper on the walls, big gas grill out in the open, flanked by a salad bar, hardwood tables, captain's chairs, waitstaff in dockers and golf shirts. We kept our prices reasonable and our labor costs down. Sometimes that meant me waiting tables or helping out behind the bar or the grill, whatever it took to keep the doors open and the creditors from walking through them. Tonight, it meant playing plumber. The ladies' John was just outside the kitchen door, opposite the grill. A woman in a green baby doll